Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans by wrestling fans on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary, Ashton. And this is the week in review. Not a bad week. I will say I did not see SmackDown and I wasn't able to catch up on it before going live here. But looking at the YouTube clips that were uploaded, aside from the Gauntlet match, which Ashton gave quite a bit of praise to the Street Profits, it didn't really seem like much of a show to me, at least again, judging by what was uploaded. So I thought we would just begin with SmackDown because that seemed like the weakest show of the pack. Let's talk about this Gauntlet match. We know that Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga won because Tongaloa was injured. I don't know if that's a work or a real thing, but Solo solved it by saying no problem. Jacob, you're in. So, get it done. And yeah, that's the extent of my commentary for that. So what did you think about this gauntlet, man? I mean, if you want to just reprise your remarks on Street Profits performance, I mean that's fine. But what did you think of all this?
Yeah, oh, you know what? I'm gonna have to switch our background because I accidentally still had the Money Gold background up. Thank you, Alex. Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Um, so the gauntlet was fun. It was pretty good. The Street Profits definitely had a really strong showing. There was an unfortunate mistake where Montez did a back suplex to Apollo Crews. I think Apollo's knee landed on his face. It was a really high angle, probably too high of an angle, honestly. But everyone seemed relatively fine afterwards. Apollo was still moving okay afterwards.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that was the real low light I think of the match, other than just kind of the OC's existence in general because they're fucking lame and boring.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, Montez and really I would say Angelo Dawkins especially really stood out to me in this match. I feel like Dawkins has been on one lately and he's been really awesome. Um, but yeah, man, they just had a really good performance, and then they they really did take the bloodline to the limit, and the fact that they were able to take a team that included Jacob Fatu to the limit, I think, really speaks volumes about the idea that even though WWE isn't giving them the win here, they at least wanted to make sure that they looked strong because now if the bloodline and specifically Jacob turns around and just absolutely decimates DIY, that's going to make the Street Profits look that much stronger because they were able to take them to the limit despite the fact that they had already suffered through several stages of a gauntlet match. And I'm hoping that that will set them up to eventually at some point be the team to take the titles off of the Bloodline, assuming that the Bloodline do actually win the tag titles from DIY.
Yes. I am operating on that assumption. Good for Street Profits because I could see Tama and Jacob, just because Jacob's on the team, having a more dominant tag title reign than we're used to in that division.
Yeah.
And perhaps Street Profits would be the ones, though, to end it after maybe some trial and tribulation.
Rumble.
Uh, I'm sorry, say that again.
Rumble.
Yeah, Rumble. Very well could be. Absolutely. So let's take a look here. Not going to talk about LA Knight and Logan Paul because fuck them both. Hope Logan Paul's legal troubles eat him alive. Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair calling out Alba and Isla, who I even told you when I was live reacting to Raw and messaging you on Facebook. I forgot those two were the women's tag team champions. But they kind of, tossed them out of the ring, and they kind of had a dominant showing there. So they're just kind of showing, hey, we're revving up attention on the women's tag titles back up, and everybody's gunning for them because we already know as well that Isla and Alba will be defending them at the Bash. Uh, excuse me. And so, yeah, they've got a defense coming up there. Who are they defending them against again? Oh, it was Jakara and
Lash.
Mama
Yeah.
Lash Legend. Yeah, so that should be fun. I honestly would pop if Jakara and Lash would win, but I don't think that's going to happen because I think the bigger end game here is potentially Bianca and Jade getting the titles back. We'll see. Would be a fine time for one of them to turn heel on the other. Again, we'll see. After that, let's see here. That was the Gauntlet. The gauntlet, every match here. We just kind of touched on it. Cody gives video package. Nobody cares. Apparently, yeah, Tiffany and Nia Jax won their tag match against Michin and Bailey. And let's see. Oh yeah,
They
Jax
attacked
pinned
Michin
Bailey.
before the match.
Okay. Okay. Well, that
But yeah, they
explains it.
beat the shit out of her before the match, threw her into the stairs. So they kind of went into it with an advantage, and so it just kind of excuses and protects Bailey and Michin from being able to take that loss.
Yes. And Jax pins Bailey, so it's good, build up for the heel.
Yep.
Can the babyface overcome? We've been through this before. That seems to be SmackDown because I know with gauntlets that takes
Yeah.
up a good bulk of the time. So, well, great. Let's move on to Raw, which again I thought was the show of the week.
Yeah.
Raw has really been on one. I am so proud of Monday Night Raw. I dreamed of times like these, and we're living in it, baby. We're living in it. So let's take a beat here. Let's actually enjoy ourselves a little bit. We open with Gunther, and he doubles down on his statements as expected because racism's always going to get heat. And then Priest comes in. I do like the fire from Priest. It's just God, I hate to say it because I've been taking up for Priest and I've been defending him and I'll still defend him. It's just when you put him against Gunther, I don't know why. For me, I don't really believe Priest is being capable of beating Gunther, and they still really haven't sold me on that idea. I did think that the skirmish was nice and it really brought out the intensity, in Priest because they took it outside and he actually got a few good shots in on Gunther. But I just look at him and I'm like, him being Gunther, and I just think it's inevitable. He really is the Thanos of this bitch to me, especially now with Roman Reigns gone for the moment. But what are you thinking about this program, man? I mean, I know again we're both sour taste with the racism. So, in the context of this week, what did you think of the brawl? Are you like believing that Priest can do it? Does he seem believable to you in that way? How are you feeling?
I mean, I think like yeah, like size wise and looks wise, I think that Priest looks like a guy that could potentially beat Gunther. Um, I think it would be believable to some degree, at least. So yeah, man. I don't know. I think it's more about aura. I think it's more about vibes, just because Gunther's been built up as this like unstoppable monster, and Priest is like this very humble, confident champion that like doesn't. He's not very like. I don't know the word to use here. He's not peacocking all over everyone, bragging about how great he is.
He's not boisterous about it. He's not
Yeah, yeah,
braggadocious. Yeah.
exactly. So it kind of makes me feel like maybe it's just like a difference in vibes that makes you feel like you just can't imagine him beating Gunther, because like he's taller than Gunther, and it's not like he's like significantly like scrawnier than Gunther build wise or anything like that. Like they're both built guys. So yeah, I feel like it's definitely more of a vibes thing than anything, and like a credibility thing for sure.
Right. Well, then we go to something that I loved. We had Braun versus Ilya. I loved how they handled this. It was a fun back and forth. But, I was thinking like you, and I'm sure other people, oh, it's going to be a triple threat. And, Sammy's going to have to deal with both Braun and Ilya at SummerSlam. Nope. Nope. Braun said, nah to that. Except he's far better than LA Knight. So, fuck his ass. And yeah, when Ilya trying to do something on the apron. Braun intercepted him into a spear, and commentary tried to make it seem that Ilya hit his head.
Yeah,
Looking carefully at the replay, I personally did not see that. But Ilya sold it really well. Like, oh man, like he almost looked like he was locked into his own body, but he couldn't do anything with it. And the referee waved off the match, and Braun gets the win. So he earned his rematch, which I think a lot of people wanted him to do because he earned it formally in this match. And yeah, he looked dominant doing it. I love that it was a ref stoppage. If anybody had any complaints about Ilya potentially being OP in NXT, I think in a way you'd have to be a bit happier with his main roster booking because he hasn't really steamrolled the roster like I even thought he low key would. And the idea that Braun kind of walked all over him here towards the end, I think is dope.
yeah.
So they did a great job building up Braun here.
They're
Did
definitely
you?
doing a better job of keeping Ilya as like a solid mid carder without that upper part putting in there.
Yeah.
But I just worry about how long that's going to last, because it definitely feels like they're having him rub shoulders with a lot of like the brass, and it's kind of making me feel like they're going to slow burn him, and that he will probably be a world champion one day, and that just grosses me out.
It's fair. I will say, when they do build him up to that, because I do agree with you, that's coming. He at least feels like more of a scrapper and more of a I'm going down swinging type babyface than he did on NXT. So I'm all for that personally. I'm kind of ambivalent about him overall as a performer. But I'm like, yeah, if you're gonna do this, at least make him work for it, and they're making him work for it. So not gonna ask for too much. But yeah, very fun matchup. I loved it. I fucking love Braun. Definitely one of my favorite guys. My favorite guy just period in WWE right now. Love everything he does. Um, Sonya Deville beating Lyra Valkyria. I did not agree with that at all. I even said to you, I get that they want to make Sonya's faction legitimate, but Lyra, I'm not saying give her the title right away. I don't mind her losing. If she lost to an EO, I understand because it's fucking EO. But losing to a Sonya who's just getting her bearings back when Lyra's already in NXT Women's Championship reign, which she beat Becky to start, by the way. It just, I don't know. It rings a bit hollow to me. But yeah, Sonya does beat Lyra. So that happened. Let's see what else here. CM Punk. Okay, I'm actually going to let you take the ball on this one because you already know that I'm loving Drew in this story and I'm loving the story and I'm glad things are happening. What do you think about all this, man? What do you think of this segment here with
Which
Punk and
segment is
Drew?
this? The Punk
The
and Drew
Punk and Drew
segment?
segment with the Seth announcement?
Oh right, yeah, where Punk called Drew out, and Drew acted like he didn't want to fight Punk now after all this time. Yeah, I hated that. But then we got Pierce coming out to announce that they were going to be having the match at SummerSlam because Punk is cleared. That was the big announcement for Punk. But that he has a referee problem, and that's where Seth comes in. So Seth comes out. We know now that we're going to have special guest referee Seth Rollins for Drew versus Punk. I'm definitely intrigued. I mean, I like the idea that Drew can just finally get his hands on Punk and just beat the fuck out of him. And frankly, if the match doesn't get booked that way, I'm going to be pissed. If Punk feels like an in-ring equal to Drew in that match, I'm going to genuinely be annoyed by that.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's intriguing to have Seth be the referee. And I know we're going to be getting him kind of telling them what he wants out of them in the match, which he's not going to get. So that should be interesting too. I fully expect him to take at least one bump, if not several bumps. And I hope it's one of those situations where like they kind of have the gimmick be like, it's a good thing Seth was the ref, because if it was one of these regular refs, then he never would have been able to recover from that whatever, headbutt or claymore or whatever the fuck in time to make the count. So I'm fully expecting Seth being the referee to lead to him counting the three for Punk.
Yeah, the only thing I would want to push back against that you said because I agree with pretty much 99% of it. I know you took umbrage with Drew not wanting to fight Punk, but let's remember that was only because he wanted to play it cool because Pierce had it where if any physical contact happened, either one of them would be suspended and the match would be off. So I
Is
look at
it?
it as the opposite actually.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say, is it implied that Drew was aware of that rule beforehand?
when I watched it, it seemed implied, yeah, that Drew knew, and that's why he didn't want to engage because Pierce had the talk with him beforehand because I think Pierce looks at Drew as the bigger hothead between the two of them. So yeah, I'm still enjoying this. So I just wanted to clarify that too. So because I do think the writing on Raw has been strong, and I do think they accounted for that. Uh, you know, I like Seth, and I did want him to be involved in this story because I thought it was interesting that now Punk's their mutual obsession, Punk and Drew's mutual obsession with each other is affecting other people, which is a natural consequence with things like this. I just don't know how I feel about like a referee thing. We'll have to see because when Pierce was like, "Oh, give the referee instructions," he's giving them next week. I need a drink, which by the way, the Pierce character, it's funny how he's like promoting alcoholism in the workplace and Stone Cold isn't even around because he told Chelsea when she was talking to a crowd of nobody after Money in the Bank, you need a drink. And now he's saying, I'm going to get a drink after dealing with Drew and Punk. So, real healthy standards you're setting there, Pierce. No problem with your leadership whatsoever. As far as Punk, I don't know. He just annoys the crap out of me. I don't like his face. Hoping Drew annihilates him. We know that's not going to happen. Get ready to be annoyed. I know I will be. And something tells me that Seth's going to screw Drew here in some way. And I don't know, because that is one thing. I guess I could forgive it because CM Punk beating Drew straight up would just infuriate me. But I worry about this match, man. I do. I'm almost wondering if it's starting to do a little too much, but that remains to be seen. Um, yeah, let's see. The Final Testament, which is still getting absolutely no fucking pop, beat Xavier, Tozawa, and Otis. More interesting thing is Chad's new group with the Creed brothers come out and they kind of laugh at him. And Gable gives Otis one last chance, to come back. Otis says no. Crowd is still hot behind Otis when it comes to this relationship. So there is still, in my mind, a lot of value in a future Gable Otis matchup. But then, the Wyatt Six, kind of come out after Otis and everybody, make themselves scarce, whatever. Well, they get beat down, I think is what happened because they just, kind of devolved there. White Six come out, and then Bo hits the Sister Abigail on Chad to a huge pop. I think also on this show there was the video for Nikki Cross's character, so Sister Abigail,
Yeah,
and
it was kind of nonsensical to me, honestly. I didn't really pick up on anything from it at all.
I would have preferred just another sit down interview like they've been doing.
Yeah,
To kind of stray from that, it was a bit jarring for me, so I don't blame you there. Um, After that, we get let's see. I don't think this is bolded, but I think we got Bronson Reed and Sheamus next. Or no, it was Bronson Reed and Pete Dunne. But then Sheamus came out and he pretty much took them both out, got a piece of Dunne. But then yeah, so Sheamus kind of stood tall there. I'm not really vibing with Pete Dunne. Then again, I never have.
me neither.
Uh I have described on Discord, at least with the stuff he's doing on NXT, he seems like a moody teenager. You figure it out. God, mom. And it's like, God damn it, Peter, get your shit together. Be interesting. But you just seem
He
fundamental
never
and
will.
capable. I know. I know.
He's gonna hear you be like, "God, Peter, get your shit together. Be interesting." And he'll be like, "Oh, you want me to be interesting, do you?" And he'll go and grab someone's hand and then break their fingers and be like, "See, is that interesting enough for you?" And you'll be like, "No, that's all you've ever fucking done. What are you talking about?"
And then he'll just shrug because he doesn't care.
Exactly,
So
exactly. Yeah, we just literally scripted Pete Dunne's last 8 years.
yeah. So yeah, we go to the Judgment Day clubhouse. Rhea trying to rein everybody in. Finn is like, "Oh, we need to take care of Jey Uso," and Rhea's like, "Literally, why? Why? What are you doing?" Because Dom
I
tries to
gotta
call her out.
say, just backing up a little tiny bit,
Sure.
Javaris made a great point in chat that I would love for us to also just kind of acknowledge. Chad Gable's sell of the Sister Abigail was fantastic, and also I love that Uncle Howdy, as you know, Bo Dallas's Uncle Howdy is using Sister Abigail still because that got a big pop from the crowd too.
Oh, yeah, that got a huge pop, and I agree. I mean, Gable's been fantastic, man. I'm telling you, like, I'd love in an ideal world for this man to be world champion against a babyface Gunther, but they decided to do racism, so that was cool. But I
Hmm.
want Gable to, get some kind of a title reign, singles title reign, before he calls it a career, because this dude's been slept on way too fucking long, and I'm
Yeah,
tired. But yeah, Judgment Day Clubhouse. Tom tries to call Rhea, like, "What are you doing with Jey Uso? What have you been doing with Liv Morgan? You better bottle that tone." And they kind of have it out a little bit. Nothing too tense, but Dom's like, "Yeah, let's go find Jey Uso," because Finn's gassing everybody up, and they go in pursuit. And then Liv kind of stops Dom. They talk a little bit, and then Finn comes in and is like, "What are you doing? This is still happening?" And it's like, "Yeah, but I'm trying to push her away, whatever." And then they do find Sammy later and they start to jump him. Or no, they find Jay, excuse me. They find Jay and Sammy comes to his rescue, which I love that because I love Sammy and Jay's relationship. I love that the writing hasn't abandoned it. I love that the writing has stood by it and done justice to it. And Sammy having Jay's back there, which I think makes him a great babyface because he's got enough on his plate being Intercontinental Champion and having a heat-seeking missile known as Braun Breaker on his back, right? But he still makes that space for Jay. Like I told you on Facebook, man, like I want these guys to be tag team champions so bad. Like if you want me to care about the tag titles, the Raw ones specifically, because they're on that brand, emotionally, you put it on these guys. I will
yeah.
watch every segment they fucking do. I will watch the press conferences they do after pay-per-view defenses. Everything, everything.
Yeet was born on a press conference.
Yeah, exactly. So let's get it, man. Let's fuck because the idea that you gave Cody Rhodes magical moments with Jey Uso for tag titles, and you've yet to give it to these two. I mean, I hate Cody Rhodes with a passion, but I mean, yeah. So there you go. Um, so yeah, they're trying to hunt Jay, and Sammy's got his back, thankfully. Then we get Zoe beating, or excuse me, Zoe losing to Zelina Vega because Zelina Vega's like, wait a minute, this cast can be a weapon, a legal weapon. And so yeah, kind of knocks Zoe Loopy, gets the win there. So I love though, and no disrespect to Zelina because I do like her, but I love that this Raw and WWE as a whole, they're cool with this new faction taking L's. It's just, we want to protect Sonya more than Zoe. I don't know. Like, I'm not a Zoe Stark stan by any means. You know that, but she's been around a lot longer because Sonya just recently got back. I just feel like that's a little backwards. Granted, again, it was the cast. It has a heavy asterisk by it, but I don't know. I really what it comes down to is I hate that Lyra lost on this Raw. I really do to Sonya. Just again, rings hollow. It's not believable to me.
Hmm.
So yeah, Wood said he wanted a match with Cross next week. Hate this fucking storyline so much. Then Alba and Isla were interviewed, and that is where I told you that I totally forgot these women were tag team champions. Gunther got a video package. Cool. And I feel like I skipped something accidentally. Well, no, of course. The whole Dom and Rhea and Liv segment where Rhea's just like, you know what? We're fixing this. I'm over it. Come on, let's go. Because she heard about the Liv encounter. And it's like, we're putting an end to this now. And she's like, Liv, if you want him, come and get him. Great crowd shot of Liv like in the sea of people, in that one area. Loving the cinematography again on Raw. They're doing great stuff. And Liv is just kind of like taunting Rhea, like, oh, what your problem is that deep down that guys like Dom never have interest in women like you because all they have is interest in women like me and talking about how Dom, truly favors her and whatever. And then Rhea wants to go after her and rip the head off. And then Dom stops her and then Liv, which a lot of people have been freaking out about because Dom tries to go to speak. And then, of course, the booze. But then Liv says, I want to hear him talk. Let him finish. And they actually do quiet down so you can get this promo out. So, like, again, and fans are like going crazy over this because it's like, wow, Liv not only helped Dom beat Ray, but now she's even helping with like the crowd control so we can actually cut a damn promo. And he more or less like doubles and triples down in one promo how much he hates Liv, throws a lot of what I'm sure is insulting Spanish at her. Liv does her best cry face, and just thinking like, no, how could you say this to
Dude, I
me?
love the way that like once it was all said and done, she turned around and walked away, and we actually got a camera shot of her like from the perspective of the hallway. Like we followed her to the back. That was so good.
Yeah, dude, again, the cinematography has been on point. Rhea is elated. She whispers something in Dom's ear. Dom has a smirk, and then she licks his face and kisses his cheek, and which is like the most I've seen from these two in their entire run. Because
Yeah.
normally it's just the whispers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I know before Dom was turned, it was the whole like wrapping legs around him kind of thing, and oh, woke something inside of him. Guess I can beat the shit out of my father now. But yeah, since then, like this is the most I've seen from them because they're both obviously married, like IRL to different people, and like good for them. But yeah, just very interesting. Uh, I think you and I both probably have the same idea of what's going to happen, but I know we're going to have a preview predictions for SummerSlam. So cool. Talk about it then. And then I think after that, just really looking at everything, we just got our main event tag match. Really not much to talk about here, except that Sami Zayn and Jey Uso beat the tag team champions. Fuck you, McDonough. Finn, you're still cool though. But yeah, like very happy for Sammy and Jay. This puts them in the title hunt, which they may need to be because Sammy may be down the championship when Braun Breaker gets done with him because he speared Sammy and then got out of the ring before Jay could do anything about it because he fucking was operating at warp speed. And Braun just kind of laughing and smirking, like, yeah, that title's coming home with me. And I'm like, yeah, it is. So, yeah, it was a great time for us Braun Breaker fans. I thought that this Raw was tremendous, mainly because of how much it emphasized Braun and particularly the girthiness of his dominance. And yeah, I look forward to just celebrating him and exalting him as our new Intercontinental Champion. Do you have any concluding thoughts on Raw before we go to NXT?
No, I think you did a great job covering it, and I
Yeah,
think
I
I
think you're
contributed just enough.
I think your face does a great job elevating lives around it and just making life beautiful. So suck on that. All right, we go to Trick Williams to open the show. I feel like NXT had a good energy tonight, but I will say this episode of NXT to me exemplified what Pro Wrestling Bits has said about NXT. Thank Ashton for turning me on to him. We watch a lot of his stuff now. That black equals green on NXT because I swear when you get away from like the white, you know, uh,
Mediocrity,
white mediocrity, the hillbilly trash looking shit, fucking Jensen and Briggs and fucking Gallus, which does nothing for my phallus. Uh,
Spears, and Page.
yeah, fucking yeah, Ty Spears, fuck you. And so yeah, just but when you actually focus on the talent that talented, it's a great time. And Trick, yeah, love his energy here. Says I'm gonna get my rematch from Ethan Page, which he should have gotten forever and a day ago, but I digress. We've already talked about the writing last week. I'm not gonna retread that. Um, and Cedric interrupts and says, "Look, I gave you my advice, gave you the best advice that I got." And Trick was like, "Hey, this isn't about you, man. I just got to do me, more or less." And then Ashanti cuts it. I love what a douche this man is. Never change, Ashanti. I no matter what happens to you, I'm telling you, only grow in a worse direction. Only triple down on your charisma and your douchiness to everyone else because it is delectable to me. Because yeah, he more or less says that, well, what did you expect, Cedric? Trick dropped the ball. And then Trick said, I've never dropped anything. Um, and then kind of gets a burn on Ashanti about how like this company doesn't even know what to do with you, do they? And then he kind of alludes to Hit Row, and Ashanti's like, oh, I know you didn't say that to me, and it's looking like it's going to intensify. But then Cedric kind of puffs his chest out, and he's like, the way you're talking, you're making it sound like you think you're better than me, and like Cedric. I think you're a beast in ring, and honestly, I definitely think there's something in there, like in you beyond that. But let's be honest, bro. I mean, Trick is kind of the guy right now. It feels like he's in the running to be one of the guys, which I mean, the guy holding the crown wasn't even on the show this week, Obafemi. Don't think we didn't notice NXT. We certainly did.
Yeah,
Um, and
unacceptable.
you're right. You're right, it is. How dare you do this affront to our faces collectively? So Cedric more or less challenges Trick to a match. Trick obviously is game, and we do that. So we go from that and then Ethan Page, who is, I mean, my God, maybe Cody can sleep again because I mean WWE is just loving their uncharismatic world champions. It's great. I mean, Priest is holding down the fort. I'll tell you that right now. You look at the three main champions across these brands. Priest, you're doing good work, my man. If it ends at SummerSlam, thank you, because Cody ain't doing it for me, and Ethan Page sure as shit ain't doing it for me. But yeah, he goes up to Tyson and Tyreek, and they prod him for getting pinned by Oro last week. He's like, it didn't count. It didn't count. It wasn't an official. It wasn't a match. It's like, Jesus, like, dude, like I get that you're supposed to be insecure, but like, shut up.
Dude, I know
Uh,
this was so annoying. He was freaking out over somebody pinning him outside of a sanctioned match while holding the title that he obviously never lost in this not even sanctioned match. What the fuck is even tilt worthy? What are you doing?
Bro, like, I get that when you want to sell a fight, right? Especially when you're the heel as the champion, you want to sell the threat of the baby face. But I think about heels that have done that so much better. JBL, to his credit, and so much of his reign sucked, just ask the ratings. When it was time for John Cena to like be the one, he sold that fear so well. Like, I remember one segment where like Teddy Long put that stip. Oh, if there's physical contact, the match is off, whatever. And Cena looks like he's going to hit JBL with the chair and he doesn't. And like, but he's freaking out that he will. He's like, no, 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 please. And then Cena like unfolds the chair, sits in it, and does the "you can't see me." And JBL's just looking like, fuck, he's in my head. He's in there. And then like, or one of my other favorites, Randy Orton when he was feuding with Jeff Hardy. And he's trying to get Jeff Hardy beat up by Umaga in that steel cage match. And Jeff Hardy does a whisper in the wind. And the look on Orton's face, like off the top of the cage, he does that whisper in the wind. And the look on Orton's face was like, what the fuck did I just see? Like, he just did that. And if he's willing to do that, what's he willing to do to take my title from me? Like, a look can go a long way. So if Ethan would have just kept it to a look, like, wait, did that just happen? But then just carried on with his arrogance and stuff the next week and didn't dwell on this and dwell on this, that would have sold it a lot better. NXT is trying way too hard with the writing to make Oro seem like a threat, but I'm liking Oro. You know how you sell Oro? You let him compete, you let him talk because it's
Yeah.
working on me. Like I looked at Oro. I don't want to be disrespectful, but I really didn't think much of Oro in the metaphor. I'm like, oh, okay, he's there, and soon, like, maybe Noam like turns heel on him, or maybe the other way around. But Oro will just like be whatever. But he's really stepped up. So like, if you want to get him over with me, don't have Ethan tell me how worried he is about Oro. Show Oro and like have him show why he should be a worry to everybody competing for that spot. It's really not that hard. Um, Jensen and Briggs, I was just unimpressed by this. I never really get excited anymore when NXT does like the no DQ type steps and stuff like that because I mean, we had Dijak and Gacy, and like I love Dijak to death, but like Gacy's gonna drag everything down. And then with this, they want to make Jensen happen. And again, there was a small window where I thought it might, and I even gave that path. I'm not liking this. And of course, anything with Ty Spears in it is just gonna suck eggs. Jesus Christ. So that's a thing. And you just gathered all the white mediocrity in one place. So I guess that was good though, because once you concentrate it and you get past it, you can only get better from there, right? Um, Eddie
Yeah, I
Thorpe
suppose
beats.
the downside there is that we still kind of have to. I mean, Gallus wasn't part of it,
Yeah, that's true.
so not all the white mediocrity, just most of it, just
No,
enough, I
because
guess.
yeah, because Lexus King would come in the next segment. Eddie Thorpe beat
Oh,
him. These are two guys that I see
well,
nothing
Eddie is
in.
not white, but yeah,
Well, no, I'm saying Lexus is, and like Eddie Thorpe
yeah.
beat him. That's what I'm
Oh
like.
yeah, did you see, by the way? Apparently, Eddie Thorpe and Dakota Kai are a thing.
Cool, cool,
Yeah, I
happy for
just
them.
learned that. Literally, someone posted it in the Discord today.
Yeah,
DBK did. Yeah, they posted something, I guess, on IG or something.
cool.
I
Yeah,
surprised, dude. It's crazy though, because how long have I been saying Eddie Thorpe needs a Kiwi accent?
yeah.
Literally
Uh,
since he was on New Japan Strong, I've been saying that shit, and now he's literally dating a Kiwi. That's incredible,
yeah. Keeping it to the wrestling though, I really don't see anything in either guy. I'm really not impressed with either guy.
bro.
They do a
Remember when Eddie Thorpe was Carl Fredericks and actually had aura?
yeah.
That's crazy how downhill a haircut can give you.
I know. I mean, people would have should have heeded Tomatonga's warning a lot sooner, I guess. Just as far as messing with hair of any kind.
Yeah,
Um, King does a post-match angle where he breaks Thorpe's arm. Whatever. I'm so tired of Lexus King. I
yeah.
don't know why we're wasting money on this.
Lexus's character is nepo baby, mediocre white boy who can't accept losses.
Exactly. But then we get back to black equaling green, and we get Ashanti versus Oro. I really like this match, man.
Oh yeah, you did. It was a good match. It was good
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, I think Ashanti, like he's not like an in-ring exemplar or anything, but I think he's better than people have given him credit for. I liked his stuff here. I thought it was really good. I liked his double A spine buster at one point. I thought that was beautifully executed. I think he's good enough for WWE for sure in the ring. And that's the big thing because if he's good enough and he passes that check, we already know he's got the promo and just the charisma and just the general vibe to the character and everything to go as far as they want him to go. Yeah, I like the dude. I'm definitely a fan. Oro wins and he looked good doing it. Cuts a little post match promo about, let me just remind you, Ethan, it goes 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then just kind of leads the crowd in a count there. Ren Sinclair follows up with No Quarter Catch Crew. Still loving all of this. And it shows that Ren has a bit of a dark side to her. I don't really know if they're like emphasizing that too much, but it's something that, I as a viewer am noting. Like you're extorting these people. You in character more than likely saw a murder because NXT is unhinged creatively, and I do love that. It's like the most sanitized form of Lucha Underground you're probably gonna get when you see stuff like this. Um, and yeah, like Tony's kind of having a laugh at it. And, he's got the Heritage Cup, which obviously NQCC won back. And so yeah, they're gonna be here for this match. Carly Bright versus Ren. I liked Ren's stuff here, kind of showing off her technical wrestling, but I also like the finish where Charlie actually does aid her in getting the win, giving extra leverage for a roll up. I thought that was really cool. And Charlie looked like he hated himself. He hated that he's in this situation, whatever. Because I almost wonder if I want Charlie and EO to have a conversation because I almost wonder if he wants to run it like almost QQ esque, or I hate having to help you get wins. Like you need to be good enough on your own to get wins, but he's being extorted, right? So it's like an extraordinary circumstance. So I'm really digging this. As far as undercard stories, this is one of my favorite in the entire company going on right now. And Ren just dancing with the group and everything, like it's great. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think there's
it's
something
very
interesting
endearing.
with Ren. Yeah, for sure. Because like I don't know if she's meant to be a babyface, especially again when she's extorting somebody, but I like the ambiguity of her character right now. It's interesting.
I think she's
Um,
low key kind of turning No Quarter Catch Crew into a face faction, maybe.
which is
Like
amazing.
between Charlie's sort of like whimsy and her adorableness and trying to get into the group and like the interactions being so precious and wholesome. I think they're trying to turn them into a babyface group, and it's working.
Yeah, I'm here for this. I am here for this 1000 fucking percent. And yeah, like I'm absolutely loving this story, no doubt
Yeah.
about it. Um Thea Hale's interview. Actually, no. Before that, I just want to say, fuck Nathan Frazier. I am hating this story now where Axiom is doing more stuff, and Nathan's like, "You had a problem when I did it." Yeah, okay. And then we got past it, and now I'm doing it. Shut the fuck up. He is so annoying to me, dude. Like, you being able to do a Phoenix Splash doesn't absolve you, okay? It's not impressive. It's 2024. Grow the fuck up. Get a character. They find Javon to do the six man with him because they earlier in the show, MSK kind of said, excuse me, the Rascals said that, oh, that matchup can still happen. This whole dream confrontation between all of us and you guys and a partner can still happen. And they find Javon, your boy Bouncy. I'm telling you, Javon, he grows on me more and more each week. He's definitely got money to him for fucking sure. But yeah, fuck Nathan though. I mean, God, what a dweeb.
20
Uh,
years old.
Jesus
Javon,
Christ.
I mean, Javon.
Yeah, no. No, your tone. I knew you were talking about the talented one. Don't worry. Um, so after that, we get Thea Hale's interview with Kelly Kincaid. It was fine enough. Not really much to say here. I just don't think Thea's gonna win. Obviously, Roxanne's in her bag right now. I
Here's
just
a
want
question. How upset would we be if Thea did pull up the upset?
upset's kind of the wrong word. It would surprise me, but I think Thea has put the work in. I wouldn't mind it too much. Plus, the just the whole journey with her and the whole story with Ridge and the group and everything else. And like, wow, Ridge really has been good for the group. I think it would add an interesting layer. I would just wonder, like, what does Roxanne do except maybe get called up? I don't know. So either that or take over the Women's North American Championship division. But that's already on lock with Kalani and the weirdness, which I'm thoroughly enjoying. So I don't know. I don't know. How would you feel about it? I mean, you asked the question. So what are you thinking?
I don't even remember what the question was that I asked anymore.
How would you feel about Thea winning? Like if Thea did pull it off, that's what you asked.
Oh, right. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was reading chat and I got all caught up in people talking about like Axiom and just it's weird. Anyway, yeah, I would be extremely upset because we just found out that Julia is probably going to be in NXT in time for the September 1st PLE, and I really want her to challenge Roxanne on that show.
Yeah, absolutely, my man. All right. So yeah, the interview was fine enough, but we'll have to see how that goes. And yeah, let's see here. Trick Williams versus Cedric. I feel like there was a bit of clunkiness here in parts, but Trick does get the win. I think it was a fine enough match. To be honest, on some level, I almost prefer Ashanti versus Oro, but that's just me.
Trick
Uh,
versus Ashanti is going to go hard as fuck.
yeah, it is. I'm really looking forward to that. Pete Dunne after the match attacks Trigg. Nobody gives a fuck. Jakara and Lash, they exchanged words with Carmen and Soul. Like, Carmen and Soul are like, we've been winning lately. What have you guys been doing? When's the last time you won a match as a team? And they're like, oh, I know you're not saying that about us. And so, they go and settle
Mm-hmm.
it. They beat Carmen and Soul, which is how they got the women's tag team title matchup for Great American Bash. I think it's night one for them next week to get the
Yep.
title. So cool shit there. Love Lash. Think she's got a really bright future. We get a Joe Hendry video package. She's going to do a concert, I believe, next week.
Yes,
Cool.
that is correct.
Ethan continues to tilt, gets a referee, gets him out in the ring, and is like, oh, can you explain to everybody it wasn't official? Of course it wasn't, Ethan. Live in reality, for fuck's sake. Then Oro comes out, rolls Ethan up again, and the referee makes a count. Still not official. Don't know why you're tilting. You're bringing all of this on
I don't
yourself.
know why the referee made the count there either. That was really like I mean I guess that like if you really wanted to bend to justify it, you could be like, oh, his instincts kicked in, but like he's a professional. Why the fuck would he do that?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was kind of the joke I was gonna make. It was instinct. But yeah, you beat me to it, and you kind of like rationalized it away. So there you go. Main event six-man tag. Lot of fun, flippy shit. But Rascals, of course, get the win because this is their reunion tour.
That main
So
event was fantastic.
it seemed like it was a lot of yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun. So after that, Ava makes Oro versus Ethan official. It's gonna be a contract signing next week for night one of Great American Bash. Then night two will be the title match. Really enjoying Oro. I wish he would win. Don't think it's happening, so I'm not getting too invested.
This is
And that
yeah, this is one instance kind of similar to like Dante Chen, where the underdog that nobody really expects to win the world title, I would be actually really happy if he randomly just did win the world title. That would be dope as hell.
yeah, absolutely. Um, So that's that. That's that. And yeah, I will say as far as AEW, I did watch one segment this week.
Oh,
That was the unveiling of the American Championship for MJF.
oh.
Um, Not a bad looking title. And I'll even say that I guess I was in some kind of a mood because I actually enjoyed the promo. Uh, he's such a piece of shit, but I did giggle a few times. Even Will's promo because he didn't say bruv in it like a fucking mark. Really wasn't that bad. And yeah, they're gonna do their rematch at All In. They've got a lot of weeks to build to it. And the only other thing I saw was that Danielson did a sit down interview with Renee. They're making a whole thing that his contract expires, I think next week, like next Wednesday. And
August
so like
1st.
yeah, yeah. So
So Thursday, I guess it would be.
yeah, and so that's interesting. Obviously, he's got a date with Swerve at All In. Still should have been Hangman. I digress. And then Jarrett comes and he gives Danielson a bit of a pep talk, which weird. I don't know why anybody would look at Jeff Jarrett as a sagely veteran, but
I also
again,
don't know why anyone would look
weird.
at Danielson and be like, yeah, clearly this is a guy who needs someone else to motivate him.
Yeah, and especially again, Jeff
Jeff
Jarrett
Jarrett.
as
Yeah,
someone.
exactly.
Yeah, a little pretentious there. So
Extremely pretentious.
so yeah, did you watch anything from AEW this week that you'd want to remark on?
No,
Excellent.
I
Look at
took
you.
care of my mental health this week. I didn't watch a single minute of any of their shows this week, and I'm proud of it. The only thing AEW related that I've seen this week was the little scuffle between Britt Baker and Mercedes at their little Comic Con panel that they had. That's the only thing related to that that I've seen.
Excellent, excellent. Proud of you,
Yeah,
honestly.
and apparently now, because Tony Khan saw that tweet last week that somebody posted where they said that Camille thought she was too good for NXT, so she signed with AEW, and now she's sitting at home doing nothing. He was like, "Oh, that gives me an idea. I should use Camille," and he decided to make her Mercedes' heavy. So now she's walking around behind Mercedes, looking scary, and she was in a Bane mask for the San Diego Comic Con thing, while Mercedes was dressed as Poison Ivy.
All right, well, fair enough. Did you do any extracurriculars this week?
Mm, I mean, no, no, I don't think I did. No.
Me either. All right, opening the forum for questions, guys. Get those questions in. Oh, yes, Foster, thank you for reminding me because I don't know why I buried the lead because I was actually hyped about this. Also, at the Great American Bash, we're doing Tavion Heights versus Tony D'Angelo for the Heritage Cup. I am fucking hyped. That is huge. I think that's honestly what I'm looking most forward to, truthfully. I'm go Tavion. Very happy for you, my dude. Um, so Foster's asking thoughts on the Lashley and MVP departures given MVP's problems with Triple H, which I want to stress are not unfounded, don't blame either one of them. I don't know what Lashley does at this stage of his life or his career because he is on the older side, but he's still got presence. I don't know if he, like, honestly, to be perfectly truthful, see, I was going to say I could see him returning to TNA, but they've got that WWE relationship now. So I don't know. Because, like, I know he had great stints in TNA. Maybe he does give AEW a try, but does Tony Khan need another action figure, really? Especially when he doesn't already know how to really use his black talent effectively. An MVP, I just wish that man well. I just wish that man peace. Not saying he doesn't have it. I'm just saying, I don't want him to be doing stuff that like could threaten that peace. So yeah, I'm happy for him. Hopefully they can do things in their life where they're actually valued and they feel valued. Do you have anything you want to say about that, Ashton? Their departures?
Yeah, I mean, it is a real shame because at the very least, MVP specifically kind of seemed like somebody that a lot of, especially the black talent, would go to backstage for advice on sort of how to navigate the industry and more specifically the company as a black man or as a black person. I mean, I'm sure that the black women would go to him too. So that is a shame. Lashley is more of just. I personally think that that's more of a shame just from a talent standpoint because I feel like he was one of those like ever over guys. Like everyone, like he's one of the very few people left in WWE that like his music hits and he comes out and people react every single time no matter what. And like in the ring, no matter what he does, he's gonna stay over. So you definitely could have still had a run out of him. Unless he's just ready to retire. But I feel like they probably would have made more of a big deal about that. So he's probably going somewhere else. Maybe it will be AEW. I really just, if he does go to AEW, I hope he gets some kind of clause in there with some guarantees in it because man, that's some tough business right there. But yeah, that's definitely two unfortunate losses. That it's one of those things too where it's not like, oh man, these are like two of these like incredible talents that are going to be the future of the company. But I don't know if WWE really cares if you're not that. Like if you're not, oh man, this guy's the future of the company. I think that WWE is more willing to let you go without really taking in more of like the sort of holistic value that someone might bring.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Caster Sales. Would you say that rumor about Dragunov being booked like Gunther was fake? Yeah, I don't ever remember Gunther being taken out like a bitch. So yeah, I'd pretty much say it was fake. How's that spear taste, Ilya? Nothing really more to say than that. Javaris, would you consider Rascals versus Javon, Axiom, Frazier a match of the year candidate? I'll leave that one to Ashton since I answered Caster's question so hurriedly. So, how would you? Does it make your scale, or was it just a really fun TV matchup for you?
Definitely the latter. I enjoyed it a lot. I think I would kind of rank it similarly actually to the recent Monty Gold match from the 720 show where it was like Suri in there with Kizuna Tanaka for a while, and they really just cooked for a while. That was a fantastic match too. I think those two matches are both like less sort of match of the year candidates and more almost like underrated match of the year candidates. Like those aren't like the best match of the year or even like top five, but like those are matches that most people aren't gonna see that they absolutely should see.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Caster Sales asking again, how would you feel if they bring Obafemi to the main roster and make him to be a Nigerian nationalist? That depends. If he would be that kind of character and his promos would be railing against the US and colonialism and calling for decolonization, fuck yes. Absolutely. I mean, my king. Where do I sign up? But if it's just, oh, Nigeria is better than everybody else, like it's just lazy for Oba. Oba doesn't need to be that. You know what he should hype up? Himself on the mic with his beautiful fucking diction and voice. I don't think they. The thing with Obafemi is you don't need to overdress him because he already comes in perfect, and I'm not even kidding about that. Like I don't do too much. Seriously, don't do too much. That's the only way you could really ruin this dude. He has already got it on lock as far as I'm concerned. Don't meddle too much with it. But yeah,
Oba is the type of dude that you debut at a pay per view and his debut is announced by a celebrity. Like you bring in like a black icon, like someone that's like in the culture, that's like a big deal, and maybe
yeah,
even someone who's also like just genuinely African, and you have them announce Oba's debut, or like you have them ring announce him to the ring for his debut match on the pay per view. Like that's the type of treatment this dude deserves.
absolutely. Super Blue, what happens to Amos now that MVP is gone? I think it won't be long before he's on the chopping block too. If they do keep him, it'll just be for those big matches like him versus Oba, oddly enough, and stuff like that. But I don't know. Maybe Omos would be comfortable in that spot. I don't know. I mean, what do you think, Ashton? Do you have any speculation on this before I move on to Foster's question?
Amos is still pretty young, so I can't imagine they would just give up on a 7+ foot tall young black man who is like charming and likable. But it's also really weird that they've done nothing with him. So I honestly have no clue. Because here's the thing: is like it's hard to get in somebody's head when they've already actively made decisions that you can't make sense in your own mind.
Yeah, yeah, I can understand that. Foster, do you think there's a chance Ren tries to prove herself by helping Tavion win the cup? I think so. She said she was going to wrestle her way into Charlie's cold, dark heart and into the group. Well, the quickest way to a wrestler's heart is through a championship. And if she got NQCC the cup back when Charlie has been missing it, something fierce. Yeah, I think that's her ticket in. So I could absolutely see that happening. Would she succeed if she tried to help? I don't know. Rizzo might have something to say about that. You just messed with the biz of the Riz, so we're gonna throw hands. But I'd be interested in that. I'd be interested in Rizzo and Ren kind of interacting. So yeah, we'll have to see. Super Blue, how do you feel about WWE being open to talking with Brock Lesnar? Ashton, I'll let you go first on this. I mean, I'm personally unsurprised. I'll just say that right now. I fully expected it, but I don't know if you'd have anything more you'd want to add beyond that.
I'm to say that I'm fully surprised would be disingenuous, but I'm at least like a somewhat surprised. Like I'm a little surprised. Mostly, I'm just disappointed. I think there was like a fraction of me that kind of expected this. That was like, yeah, they're gonna value the money they think they can make with him over any optics, over any ethics. But like,
Yeah,
really, I was just really hoping that things would be different. I feel like this is the really big sign that like no, it's not really that different. They were just waiting for things to blow over, and now they're gonna hope things go back to the way they were.
Yeah. You know, when I took business administration in community college and I learned that Milton Friedman's idea of business ethics was what was ethical, was what would maximize profits for shareholders, that was pretty much somebody saying the quiet part out loud that capitalism has no conscience. And so when stuff like this happens, I'm just left completely unsurprised. I mean, I get your disappointment wholeheartedly and I share it, but like this company's been fucked. And I don't think that entirely changes with Triple H. And I know you knew that too. I just think people should lower the temperature a little bit of their expectations for the Triple H regime. Because when you even think about to that press conference and how Triple H handled the Vince questions, and he's like, "Oh, but we're making so much money," like that tells you everything you need to know. And so that's kind of where I'm at. Um, Foster on Level Up, Rizzo hyped up Layla Diggs after her loss. Could something like this lead to Rizzo being the bridge to more people joining the family? Potentially, Foster, I would just say be careful. I hate when factions have like a late NWO situation where it's like give that person a shirt or that person's in or whatever. The more self-contained it is, that's why the bloodline works so well, right? Because the family, just from a genetic lineage, is already large enough, as we're seeing. Hikuleo is probably going to come imminently. I know again we've got premium predictions, but I'm just going to say tentatively, I would not be surprised if Hikuleo had a hand in the main event of Solo versus Cody at SummerSlam. That could be just crazy. So we'll have to see. So yeah, but that's why it works so well, because if it is a big tent, at least it's justified because of the genetic lineage. Here, I like the family, especially because the personalities complement each other so well. I really know nothing about Layla Diggs, so I don't know if she would have a synergy with the rest of the group. Ashton, I don't want to misspeak about you, but haven't you been watching Level Up more, or have you just tried to watch it on?
I've been trying to tune in more lately, but I did not catch it this week.
Okay, so you really can't even speak to this. That's fine. Um, yeah, so that's just my thoughts on that. Any other questions? Because the other two messages was comments from Foster. So any other questions, guys? Going once, going twice, and I'm closing the gate. I know there's a bit of a delay, so I'll allow maybe one or two questions if they come in. But let's move on to high spots and low shots. My low shot this week. You know what? Just because I'm so miffed about it, I think my low shot's just going to be Lyra. She lost to Sonya Deville. That was rough to watch. I hated it. Hope that Lyra's momentum will be okay. It probably will be, but you just hate to see it. So Lyra's going to be my low shot. Who's your low shot?
Oh man. Honestly, I kind of um hmm. I feel like there are a lot of really good options. I'm gonna say honorary low shot's gonna go to Michin for getting her ass kicked and then losing the match for her team. Or actually, no, she didn't. Bailey got pinned, but
Yeah,
it's not like Bailey got pinned by a new contender or anything. She just got pinned by her who's already going to be facing her at SummerSlam. But
yeah.
Michin was a big reason behind that, though, because she got sneak attacked and couldn't do as much during the match. Honorary. That was my honorary. My actual low shot though is going to go to. Oh no, I'm not gonna say. I just working through my thought process here. I've thought about Street Profits, but they had such a good performance. I can't give them low shot, even though they really did get the rug swept from underneath them because of the fact that they were doing so well. And then here comes Jacob Fatu. That was really really shitty. Um, I'm thinking.
I have a suggestion if you're really struggling, but
No,
I
sure,
don't
yeah,
know.
I'm open.
Raw Tag Champions. I mean, they lost a non-title contest against two really viable contenders together in Sammy and Jey Uso. I mean,
Yeah,
Finn
that's a
and
good point. That's a
yeah,
good
Finn and JD.
point.
That was not a good night long term for them. I don't think.
No, you know what? It's Liv. It's Liv Morgan because the guy that she's been chasing had literally like this whole Liv, the revenge tour has been her trying to get revenge on Rhea by trying to seduce Dom, and it came crumbling down in one night because Dom literally rejected her advances, told her he hated her, and in doing so, basically restored almost everything back to Rhea that Liv tried to take away from her. The only thing really barring, the only real exception is the women's title, which Rhea is coming for. So yeah, Liv had a horrible week.
High spot for me, Braun Breaker. I mean, fucking Turbo Chad. Destroys the Soviet Union again. Literally wins a match by ref stoppage, which
Yeah.
I think is a dominant showing. And it gets the spear over too, because it was a spear that did it. And then he spears Sami to end Raw. Again, Braun Breaker closes Raw, spearing Sami Zayn. I love this man. Next Intercontinental Champion. Who's your high spot?
That's a great point. Let's see. High spot. You know what? I didn't take your suggestion for low shot, but I think I am going to take it for high spot. I think my high spot is going to be Sami Zayn and Jey Uso because it's, again, you brought up, like, we've been wanting to see these guys tag for a while. And really, I'm not even going to say both of them. I'm specifically going to say Jey Uso is my high spot.
Yeah, because he got the winning pin, didn't he, in that
He
tag match
Well,
too?
here's the thing, it's multi-layered. He got the winning pin, A. We know he's a tag team specialist, so winning the tag titles is always going to be something that he values, especially if he can do it with someone that's not his twin brother. And he's not the one that has to worry about defending his IC title, and he didn't get fucking speared.
That's so true.
So my high spot is specifically Jey Uso.
God, if it was me turning up, I'd be like, "Happy Weezing!" Oh, actually, no, didn't happen to you. All right, it was me.
Yeah.
And then, I'm like, "Yeah, how's it feel, Sammy? Should have stayed in the back." And then, then I
My
leave.
mom is already trying to fix Drew McIntyre, and she's not even in the relationship with him yet. She said, high spot, Drew McIntyre for controlling his temper. She's trying to reward him for good behavior.
Well, I guess we found a gender swapped Reed Richards because that's a stretch. All right. Well, that's right. I made a Marvel reference during San Diego Comic Con. I'm relevant. Anyway,
You are.
uh,
You never weren't relevant though, bud. You're the best.
thank you. I love that genuinely caught you off guard. Those are the best pops, the ones that you aren't expecting. All right, guys, but in all seriousness, we're getting out of here. Leave a like if you file out, subscribe, click the bell icon for notifications so you don't miss any of that TWitWoW goodness. Check out everything we're involved in the description box. Follow us on Twitter and Twitch because we are the best wrestling podcast in all the IWC. And yeah, just enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you next week. Are we going to see them before Thursday with Stardom Recap? I always forget this kind of stuff. Do we have a Marty Gold show on the horizon that I
That
don't know
is a
about?
really good question that I am going to do my best to answer as quickly as possible. There is
Yeah.
a Marty Gold show on the 30th, which is this coming Tuesday. But the question is whether that is a live show or a pay per view. If it's a pay per view, we can do it like that afternoon or the very latest Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah.
I might. I have a dentist appointment scheduled on Tuesday, but it might be something that I can possibly clear up Monday. And if I do, I can cancel the Tuesday dentist appointment and then we can go live Tuesday afternoon. If I don't get it cleared up on Monday, then I'll have to do the dentist appointment on Tuesday, but I should still be able to be home by like 5 or 6 at the latest on Tuesday. We'll have to look into it. Tuesday is a possibility, but that is the only thing that we would have to do before Thursday is possibly Tuesday.
See, guys, this is why, just join the Discord if you haven't, if you really care about keeping up with us, and just clicking the bell icon and stuff, and having notifications set for TwitWoW content, because sometimes we, still have to work it out right on the fly. Of course, Stardom is always guaranteed recaps at 7 on Thursdays, and if you're just here for the weekend review, because it's like, look, I'm really not into wrestling, but for some reason I like hearing you two guys talk because you're weird. Thank you. We know, we own it. We're beautiful. When can I just keep watching this? Sure, you can every Saturday at 10:30. And if it's a pay per view night where pay per view kind of clashes,
Which
then
next weekend will be
which next weekend will be because it will be SummerSlam.
SummerSlam.
That's true. That's true. So actually, also we should talk about. Do we want to do a preview predictions for SummerSlam Friday at 11:30?
Definitely.
Okay, so Friday. Okay, so let's do this again. Monty Gold is a question mark. We'll figure that out. Thursday,
I will
Stardom
say
Recap.
this: Marty Gold should be Tuesday.
Okay.
Should be. I would say 90% chance it'll be Tuesday because even if I do have the dentist thing, I should still be able to get home by 5 because Tuesday is a fasting day for me. So it's not like I'm going to be fucking around making stops, picking up food or anything like that. I'm not worried about all that Tuesday. Tuesday, my dentist appointment. As soon as I'm done there, I should be able to just come home. So I should absolutely be able to be home Tuesday 5:30 at the latest. and I can't imagine that the show is going to go much longer than 2.5 hours. They usually don't even go 2 hours. So
Yeah.
that I would say 90% it's Tuesday, 10% it's Wednesday. I actually 90% it's Tuesday, 9% is Wednesday, with the 1% being that it's a VOD and it ends up uploaded later. I hope that's not the case, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yes.
Um, then Thursday Stardom, and then Friday night 11:30 will be preview predictions for SummerSlam, and then yeah, Saturday SummerSlam.
And then for SummerSlam, would we just do in review at like 4? How do you want to handle that? Because I know it's
Um, I mean, I like five more than four.
5 then. We'll do 5. Hopefully it won't take that long. It usually doesn't because we don't really touch on go home shows like that much. So honestly, it might just be more of an NXT
Do you
centric
want to just
episode.
do? Do you want to just do a later weekend review, like do SummerSlam and then like wait like an hour and then go live with weekend review and talk about SummerSlam and then just call it like instead of like
So
weekend
like
review.
do like those weekend I've kind of like that we've done that lately where it's
Yeah,
just like pay-per-view reviews.
exactly.
Cause,
Yeah,
'cause yeah, no, I think that really should be the new model going forward
yeah,
because that's
yeah,
freshest in our mind anyway.
yeah,
So like, yeah, I'm totally cool with that. Okay,
yeah,
so yeah, you guys got it here. Just to reiterate that last part, because Ashton covered all the other stuff exceptionally well. Of course, it was his face. Yeah, we're gonna do SummerSlam live reactions. I'm assuming I don't even know how selective it's gonna be. I just think we're just gonna strap in for the show. And then yeah, we'll do a pay-per-view review probably like round it up an hour or whatever. And yeah, there you go. So enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys. Next week is going to be a lot of fun. Be good to yourselves and each other. Tune in and peace out.